Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Canned Air, your tribute to pop culture. And my guest today is returning since her last visit in July of 2021. We are looking down the barrel just a few months away from 5 years ago. And she's done a lot in that 5 years. She's joining us today to talk about a few different movies, The Italian and Under the Stars, both of which are available for streaming. I welcome back producer, director, actor, world-renowned acting coach, and the founding director of the Los Angeles Acting Conservatory, Michelle Danner. Michelle, thank you so much for being back with us.
Thank you so much for having me. My God, 2021.
I know. When Lori reached out, I was like, man, I remember, having her on, but I could, to me, I thought it was just a few years ago, which I guess, depending how you look at it, 2021 is only a few years ago, but a lot long. 5 years, come on, that's a minute. It seems like COVID was just yesterday, and that the past 5 years have just kind of breezed past as a result.
I know it has. I'll tell you, our lives breeze by. We just blink, and here we are. But
yeah, and the older we get, the worse it gets.
Yep, but that's the fun, because you look back and you're so nostalgic. Oh my God, this and that, but you just put one foot in front of the other and keep living these very full lives. Exactly. Well, I think when we had you on last, the focus of our conversation was about your acting school, your acting classes, but which we'll touch on again. But, I'd like to kind of cover some ground that we touched on then, because then we were only doing the audio format. We have a whole new audience that's watching now. So I'd kind of like to go back once again to your beginnings and just ask exactly what it was that inspired you. I remember you saying that you spent a lot of time with your father, who was the first William Morris talent agency, started the first William Morris agency in France. Yes.
So I'm curious, one, if you could give me a little more detail about what exactly your father was doing and how it inspired you.
So, the tradition of the William Morris Agency is that you should start in the mailroom. But my father was already producing internationally in the 60s. And so they reached out to him and asked him, would you open as the president, the William Morris Agency, the very first one in Paris in 1964. And I was a tiny little baby. And he said yes. And so he moved his whole family to Paris. And what that gave me was an upbringing, filled with literature, museums. It seemed like every weekend we would go to the Palais de Versailles to show people from out of town, take a tour. And of course, as a little girl, I remember distinctly playing under his desk while these big stars would come and talk about their dreams. He was a wonderful father. He was very busy, as you can imagine. But I remember in the 8th grade, he wanted to take me to school for the first day of school, but he was closing a deal in Japan. He was in Tokyo. And all of a sudden, he surprised me the morning of the first day of school. I see this black car coming up the driveway. We lived in this French castle, and he took me, and then he got right back on the plane hours later to go close that deal. He came specifically to just take me to school. And a memory like that stays with you and shapes you and really makes you feel like you're loved. And as much as he traveled, and he traveled a lot, he always remembered, how did that play date go? How did that test go? And he was a very hands-on father. My mother, on the other hand, was also hands-on because she didn't travel. So she was there, boots on the ground, raising us. And so I had an interesting childhood. It was very artistic. And so the arts followed me in my adult years. And when we moved back to the U.S., to New York, I started to study with Stella Adler and with Uta Hagen, Herbert Bergdorf, and some wonderful acting teachers. And I became very fascinated I continued, because I was fascinated from the very beginning. I continued to have a fascination about acting, whether it was in different mediums. I loved the stage, and I still do, either on stage or in front or behind the camera, film. So I was always really interested in all kinds of filmmakers. I had a very rich upbringing.
Yeah, I would say so. And so when you guys moved back to New York and then were going to school studying acting, what was your initial plan? What would you want to do? Obviously be an actor, or were you just studying it from afar so you could then eventually become a coach? What was the dream to start?
No, I never thought that I would become a coach. I was always interested in acting.
Yeah.
And so an audition for the show 30 something brought me to Los Angeles. And in the 90s, my dad actually helped me to pack up all the boxes in New York. And he was very helpful, instrumental in me moving. And he helped me, he supported me, although I did go, and I remember Nordstrom sold Janet Sarton skincare and went into the bathroom every 45 minutes and screamed the primal scream because I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing. And then there was a pivotal moment where I was in acting class and all these, and I talked very eloquently about the craft of acting. So all these actors would ask me to coach them. And I remember that there was a moment where I had 3 auditions that would take me the whole, especially with traffic in Los Angeles, the whole day to get through 3 auditions. Or I had 7 people that had called me to coach them for their auditions. And I had to make a decision, and I angered my agent by canceling my auditions. But that started me coaching and teaching and realizing that this was something that felt very rewarding to contribute, to pass it down. I had studied with so many people.
Right.
And so that's how my teaching began. And I really made the decision on the beach. I went to walk on the beach and I thought to myself, what do you want to do here? And I said, I'd like to teach acting. So that's how it started.
What is it about the beach where people that brings clarity to people, right? Because it seems like that's where people seem to have epiphanies or realizations, right?
It's a great place to reflect. Also, I think taking planes. I just came off now from 2 planes. I think when you look at the clouds, like that Joni Mitchell song, you see both sides now. You see all the different sides. And, I get very emotional when I travel. When I'm in a plane, I'm always emotional. I'm always crying because I think it's a moment where you just stop and you start to really think in a very deep way about different things.
Yeah. I'm going to have to think about that next time I'm on the plane. I'm always just trying to guess how far up we are up. But then they come on the overhead and tell you exactly how many feet you are up. But yeah, very cool. And, for people at home, we're referring to the Michelle Danner Acting Studio, which you can find at michelledanner.com. Your bio says that you have your own approach to being an acting teacher, that you show your students, you teach your students to develop what you call the golden box, which is several different acting traditions and approaches put together. Can you elaborate on that? Because I certainly am. It's got me all confused over here. I can't get the words out.
Actors try and figure out how to conjure imagery, memories, make choices, whether it comes to a character or an intention in a scene. And you draw on either your personal life or your imagination or a combination of both. And I always loved this particular quote from a French filmmaker, François Truffaut, who said, "The more personal you make it, the more universal it becomes." I always loved that quote because to me, it really gave you a green light to dig deep and go inside of yourself and connect it. And Stanislavski, talked about it. He talked about, making that connection inside. There's several teachers and several acting techniques, Stella Adler and Sandy Meisner and Uta Hagen and Herbert Bergdorf and Lee Strasberg. And they all, favored one way of working or another way of working. And I was very rebellious. And I remember sitting in Stella's class and what she taught was incredible. But I remember thinking, wait a minute, this can't be the only way. There's got to be a different way. And then when I studied, the Sandy Meisner technique with Bill Esper, my rebel mind questioned it. And so with every teacher that I studied with, I said, well, okay, great, but I don't think one should be that dogmatic. I don't think you should be like, this is the only way to get there.
Right.
And so I started to think that every actor should have a toolbox where they study, they read, they see, they do, and they put different tools that works for them, because not every tool works for everybody. I've never believed in this thing of everybody come to the middle, this herd mentality, everybody's the same.
Yeah.
In fact, it's absolutely the opposite when it comes to the arts, when it comes to acting. Everybody is individual, everybody is unique. So you find ways of working, you fine tune ways of working that work specifically for your instrument, your sensitivity, who you are. And sometimes an actor, is encouraged to use more of their imagination, or sometimes it behooves them to go into their personal life and find those parallels. Right. So the Golden Box is really embracing every different methodology and finding approaches that work specifically for each artist.
Well, it kind of reminds me of Bruce Lee's fighting style that he came up with. Instead of like one particular style that he had, he'd learned all these different styles and decided to make his own style by taking bits and pieces from each style rather than focusing on just one, and came up with this whole new technique. Makes me think a lot about that. Yeah.
Putting together that arsenal, absolutely.
And it seems to have worked pretty darn well for you, because you've had, my God, what a repertoire of clients, Christian Slater, Penelope Cruz, Chris Rock, just to name a few. Can you talk about coaching some of these people, and what has been your proudest moment as a coach?
Throughout the years, I have, worked with some extraordinary actors and have had a front seat to what their process has been. But usually actors come to me open and they're wanting me to, enlighten them. But of course, in the process, I get enlightened as well. I love, working with everyone individually, of all the people that I've worked with. I loved Chris Rock, and then he gave me a little kernel of parenting gold that has helped me throughout the years. And I was very, I gave this open door to my two kids to really try things and not feel the pressure of having to achieve and, deliver. And, whatever they do, it's going to be enough, that they're enough. And with that relaxed, sense of allowing things to happen, I think some wonderful things have happened to them. And I have to say, I always have it on my list that one day I will write a letter to Chris Rock thanking him for having given me some very good insights on parenting. And then, I'm sure that I gave him, or he said I did, some insights in acting. But I've loved, I've coached a lot of actors. I have worked with a lot of actors. I did a movie called Miranda's Victim a few years ago, which was about the Miranda rights. And Donald Sutherland, it was, in fact, it was his last movie, and it was an honor to work with him. And, I always, he wanted me to give him feedback. And I thought to myself, what am I going to tell Donald Sutherland? Are you kidding? What am I going to say? Nothing. But then I saw a couple of things, and I said a few things, and he was very grateful for it. And I had these letters, these emails that he sent me that one day I want to frame on a wall because they were so beautiful, so beautifully written. Oh. And of course, I had a great experience working with Andy Garcia, who I did 2 movies with. One movie with him and Toni Collette and Alex Pettifer and Eva Di Domenici in Italy a year and a half ago. And I'm so happy for Andy because a movie that he directed premiered last night at the Cannes Film Festival. I unfortunately wasn't there because I had to leave and I didn't realize they scheduled his movie the second week. So I was a little bummed, but I hear it's a huge success. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And I've worked with some wonderful actors, and I'm not going to drop the name, but on the way back from Cannes, I was in the lounge of Delta, and there was this huge star that was there. And I had no makeup on, and I had pulled my back a little bit, and I was super tired and still jet lagged. And I thought, my son said, "Look who's there." And I'm like, oh, okay. But then somehow it happened, and I started to talk to her. And we had this wonderful conversation. She was so open and so lovely. And then, I saw her on the plane after that. And, sometimes you just meet people and you go, true artists. And the world needs artists right now more than ever.
Absolutely.
And so I'm always honored when I get to meet, one of those wonderful actors.
Sure. And, another thing I should ask too, or maybe just make clear is, a lot of these big name, and there's a lot of them, big name actors that come to you for coaching. It's not like they came to you to kick off their career. They're coming to you in like the throes and the heights of their career at the same time, right?
Sometimes I work with people that are starting out. I was just working with this young girl from Australia who was 13 years old, so talented. And, of course, not everybody has the crystal ball as to who's going to break through, who's going to make it. But I'll tell you that she definitely had it. It's that it factor that they talk about. She had it. So I love working with, new actors, up and coming actors. And of course, when I work with people that already are established and have careers and maybe are preparing for a Broadway role or preparing for a big movie, that process also is exhilarating.
Right. I can't imagine. You had just mentioned the film with Toni Collette and Andy Garcia. Might as well just get right to it. Under the Stars, which is now available on Amazon. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about this film, tell the audience a little bit about it, and how you came to direct it.
I loved making the movie. The last movies that I've made were all that I was approached. I did one movie, The Runner, with an actor called Edouard Philippe Onat, who, as a matter of fact, was in a movie in Cannes that I saw last week. He got a shout out from John Travolta. He's in John Travolta's movie. Wonderful young actor. And from there, I was approached to direct Miranda's Victim. After Miranda's Victim, I was approached to direct Under the Stars. And they had me at Puglia. You have to understand, my whole childhood, my mother was Italian. And my whole childhood, I kept hearing ad nauseum, Puglia, Puglia, Puglia. And I was like, I'd never gone to Puglia. I heard the beaches were beautiful. Right. It was these old towns. And so this producer called me and she said, I have this movie I'd like for you to direct. It's shooting in Puglia. So she had me at Puglia. And then I did a little rewrite on the script and more of a rewrite. And we were lucky. I sent it to Andy Garcia, and he loved it. He said he was going to do it. And then I liked this actress, Eva Di Domenici, and then I did a Zoom with Alex Pettifer, and then finally we get Toni Collette to come and do it. And she was wonderful. Talk about having a front seat, watching her work. And her and Andy had a particularly wonderful chemistry. And we shot for like 5 weeks in Italy, and I would go to the supermarket, and I would go and buy groceries and then come home and cook chicken and cook salads. And I remember thinking, the food is so good. I lost 10 pounds eating in Italy for 5 weeks. Can you imagine?
Wow,
and eating
really?
Yeah, because the quality of the food is just
so much better.
Yeah, it is. It's excellent. There's no organic section because it's all organic.
It's all organic. Wow.
So to me, what's the highlight of having done this movie in Italy? Eating, cooking. I had a great time, and I had a wonderful cast. Rob Estes also came and was in it. And let me see, Chiara. Let's see, there were some Italian actors that were wonderful. I'm blanking now, but really great. I knew some of these actors for many years. And so I was happy to have made this movie. And I had a blast shooting it, and we did it, and now it's released. And it's a very sweet romance movie. It's not like, edgy at all. It's sweet. And I just think, I don't know, for myself, sometimes, after I finish watching the news and after I finish the day, I want to go to bed on something that's light, and not heavy.
Yeah. You can't turn the news on without just feeling the weight on your shoulders anymore, right?
No, I was in, like I said, I was in France right now for 9 days, and I didn't watch the news. I watched a little bit of French news, and I loved it because they're really opinionated in France. But coming back here and watching the news, immediately you feel that weight. Yeah. Immediately you feel dragged down. So then you have to look for the light stuff to counter that.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? I try to stay away from it. And then people are like, well, have you seen the news? Like, no, I can't watch it. Well, don't you feel it's your responsibility to keep up on it? And I just think, no, it's not. I have to check out just because if I stay involved in it, if I just, watch it continuously, I just keep getting dragged down. It just depresses you.
So you have to watch, then there's so much content to watch.
Yeah.
I love these little compilations that they have on TikTok, on Instagram about all the actors throughout the years that were nominated for the Oscars. Have you seen those? Supporting actors.
Yeah.
And a lot of the movies, of course, I've seen, and I go, I should see that again. And some of them I've never seen. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never heard of this movie. So this is my project. I'm going to go back and watch all the movies and all the performances that are nominated in the supporting category and the leading category, because I think there's some wonderful movies, and I don't want to, in this lifetime, not have seen them.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about the day and age we live in. We not only still have our network television and films the way we always have, but with streaming and YouTube and everything above, there's so much saturation that gems, of films or television shows can slip right past you undetected, because everybody, even though there's so much, everyone still looks at 2 or 3 things. You know what I mean? 2 or 3 things trend and you can't see in the peripheral.
Exactly.
But I'm going to put the trailer for Under the Stars in right here.
Okay.
What do you think?
It's as good as your first book, maybe even better.
Any notes?
Where's the rest of it?
How's everything going with Kate?
Have you not even noticed how disconnected we've become?
Did you reject his proposal?
What proposal?
As far as I can tell, he's fled the country thanks to you.
You must be the new guest, Giacomo Giglione.
Ariana is your daughter. We bumped into each other yesterday.
What brings you here?
Hi.
I'm writing a book.
We need to finish this book pronto.
You also came here to forget about your girlfriend.
I don't really want to talk about that.
Ariana.
Where is he?
Here's Enzo. He and Ariana were friends from very young.
You can't take it from me. You slapped me. I did.
Hello. Buongiorno.
I'm looking for my nephew.
He is in the guest house. Why don't you stay with us?
Yeah, of course I'll stay with you. Somebody's been busy.
Can't believe I nearly finished the book.
I'm not talking about the book.
I see the way you look at her.
We're just becoming very good friends. Anything you need from Giacomo? Scusi.
Allow yourself to fall in love again. This is your big moment. This is your running to the airport before the flight takes off. Go.
You don't know what love is.
Love is honest.
Okay, I'll be honest. I didn't like you when I first met you.
That's a little too honest.
But this is, again, like you were saying, very light. What appears to be like a romantic comedy. It starts with the younger guy leaving home, escaping a bad relationship, meets a girl in Italy, and then a family member, like his aunt or something, comes to retrieve him, and then the same kind of thing happens with her. That's all I'm going to say about it. But when you said that, you did some rewrites, when you are directing and you come in and look at a script, I guess more specifically this one, how much rewriting do you actually have to do? Do you just give some quick notes, or do you tear it apart and rebuild?
Well, it's a good question. The writer of this movie felt that the rewrites were quite heavy. As a matter of fact, she did not. She felt it should be based on a script of hers. It's a tough thing. I think that's why a lot of directors write their own scripts, because when you come in and you're asked to direct something, you have to stamp a signature on the painting. And, it's taste is taste, and you're going to make some changes. So I think it's hard. I have had great relationships with all the writers that I have worked with. I have heavily probably changed every single movie that I have been offered to direct or have had the idea to direct myself. The movie The Runner, I actually wrote the treatment for it. and then I had hired a writer to write it. I think it's a tough thing when you're a director. That's why a lot of directors get writing credits on script, because they come in and they contribute quite a lot. And I think in a way you have to, unless it's something from a novel. I'm optioning a novel right now from a New York writer, bestseller, and I'm very excited about it. I think it's gonna be really good. And so when you have a great foundation, then it's different. But I think that the director has to get in there and be happy, make themselves happy with the story, and really make sure that whatever they want to say in that piece of art comes through.
Sure. And, that's just the purpose of the director, right? For a writer to get... I don't know. I feel like if you're a writer and you're coming into a project, something you've written is being made into a film. I feel like this is par for the course, right? I mean, it's a rare occasion that a writer comes in with something they've written and a producer's like, hey, it's great the way it is. Let's go.
Absolutely. It is. No, it doesn't work like that. People write and rewrite and triple rewrite. It doesn't really work like that. Yeah. But ultimately, I think that if the director's vision, if their vision is shortchanged, sacrificed, tossed aside, it doesn't really come out as good. I remember the director of The Brutalist, who was the Golden Globe, and he said, respect the filmmaker's vision, because there has to be a vision. There has to be a captain to the ship.
Right.
If not, if there's too many cooks in the kitchen, it doesn't come out right. And so I think that it's important to honor the vision of the filmmaker. Obviously, I'm sure that won't surprise you that I'm saying that.
Well, on top of that, it just makes perfect sense, right? I mean,
right.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So.
Well, your other film, The Italian, also streaming on Amazon, which seems like a family comedy, which you yourself have a starring role in, along with Abigail Breslin, Matthew Daddario. Daddario, is that how you say that?
Daddario, yes.
Daddario, I apologize. And Rob Estes. And you've described this movie as a love letter to your mother. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the film.
Yes, my mother was born in Milano, Italy. She was a very passionate woman, very strong personality. And I always said that when we sat down for dinner, we didn't quite know at what point the spaghetti was going to fly, but we knew that it was going to happen at a certain point. And even if we went through the entree and we got to dessert and it didn't happen, it was going to happen. But, I loved my mother because she loved with every ounce of her being. Yeah. And she was, she was a strong personality. So yes, at the end of the movie, I said, for my mother, Loredana. So the premise is that the only son of this Italian-American couple brings home this girl that he's been dating for 9 months, unbeknownst to them. And it turns out to be, it goes quickly from a comedy to a horror show, because this girl, played by Abigail Breslin, is not Catholic, doesn't want children, has been married and divorced, doesn't go to church, and does not like the mother's cooking. I mean,
an Italian mother's worst nightmare.
It's an Italian mother's worst nightmare. So, she has to raise to the challenge of either trying to find a way to get rid of her or accept her. I always said, if I have 2 boys, if they brought home somebody that I did not like, I probably would not act like this mother. I would let them, find out on their own. But this mother is different. She's an amalgamation of my mother, my sisters, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. But it was fun to shoot this movie. I remember we were rehearsing, and Lainey Kazan plays the mother, and she was exceptional. And Perry Reeves plays the best friend, and David DeLuise plays the brother. Olivia Lucardi plays an ex-girlfriend that the mother tries to bring back to set up her son with. And, it's a typical Italian-American story, but it has heart. The script Elisa Phillips-Visca had written had a lot of heart. Yeah. And I wanted to do it. It was a little movie. There was a moment where I was rehearsing with everybody. And I said to them, I couldn't have picked a better group of actors to do this with, because they were all so wonderful. We had a lot of fun shooting this movie, and the result shows. We can tell we had a lot of fun doing it.
Right. I'm going to cut the trailer in for this film right here.
Great.
Be here at 6. Antipasto con burrata, minestrone, focaccia, tiramisu for dessert, and your favorite, meatballs. Just put some pants on and get over here.
I can't find my pants.
I look okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. Hi, Mom. This is my girlfriend, Lily.
Hi.
Angela and I grew up in Little Italy.
We lived across the street from each other.
So what do you do at the Playhouse?
I'm an actress.
How long did you say you were seeing her?
I don't remember exactly.
The eggplant looks absolutely delicious.
What about the meatballs?
Oh, I don't eat meat.
You don't? What are you, some kind of vegetarian?
The food's getting cold. Let's eat.
I'm sorry. Okay, this is all my fault. All right, my mom has these crazy Italian standards.
Give her a chance.
Oh, please, you just want to eat the meatballs before they get cold.
Yeah, well, that too.
Well, we've been seeing each other for about 9 months.
9 months?
I actually don't go to church.
She's not Italian. Okay, she doesn't want children. And now she insults my cooking.
And I love her anyway.
Your mom wants me to disappear.
Talk about a rough first impression.
You don't know the half of it.
So what exactly happens at that dinner?
If you thought the first one was bad,
I want to set him up with Gina.
Crazy Gina.
She's Catholic. She's Italian. She's single.
Gina, what are you doing here?
Your mom invited me.
Mom?
What are you doing here?
I thought I was invited to dinner.
Rimbambita!
Chill, what a surprise!
We'll have dinner, then I'll wheel Mom right into the closet after dessert, okay?
This pot roast tastes delightful.
All three of you need to look in the mirror. Learn to commit.
Look me in the eyes and say that you love me.
Learn to accept.
I want a divorce.
Right.
Learn to atone.
Mom put you up to this?
Your mother is not talking to me.
Call the cops!
You need to see her again. How about we go over there for dinner?
They hate meatballs.
We all mess up.
I love her, Mom.
I still don't want kids.
Ever?
Joe the Blackbeard was overrated. Everyone cool it.
I also might have resorted to violence at one point.
All right, get out.
Oh my God! Oh! Angelina, bring me some popcorn.
Now, you had said that, again, that this was a love letter to your Italian mother. And of course, you're playing the Italian mother in this film. And I was going to ask you, if you were solely, imitating your mother, but you just said you were drawing from not only her, but like your sister and your grandmother. Can you talk about the process of bringing Angelina to life?
Yes. I mean, I didn't have to. It fell into place quite easily. I did feel very close to my mother while I was shooting the movie. I kept conjuring her, and she had passed away a year before I shot this film. Oh. So I conjured her quite a lot, and I felt close to her spirit. And, I have a sister who's just like my mother. They were both born on the same day, June 17th. They're both Geminis, a sign that I don't particularly get along with. It was not that difficult. The whole entire experience of shooting this movie had a lot of ease to it, a lot of joy to it. And we had a very good reception. We did the festival circuit. So the first festival we played was the Los Angeles Italia Film Festival at the Chinese Theater. We were very well received. People laughed nonstop. Then we went up to San Jose to Cinequest. People laughed a lot there. We went to San Luis Obispo. We went to the Apple Film Festival, where we went to Italy to 2 film festivals in Italy, to Catalina. Which is a great film festival in Catalina Island. So we played a lot of film festivals. We had a wonderful reception.
Got a lot of awards.
A lot of awards. And then the movie came out. We had a premiere in LA. and people really have responded to the movie, you know?
Sure. Understandably. I'm excited to see it myself. Another thing I'm curious about is what challenges, if any, you face as a director who's also in a starring role in the film. Do you find yourself more critical of your performance than you normally would? Are there difficulties playing with those two roles in flux?
Well, you know, I feel very lucky. It doesn't escape me how lucky I am, because I work with producers that are my best friend, Brian Drillinger, has produced with me for 30 years. My sisters are on set. Alexandra Guarnieri, Valerie Debler. My son, Nicholas Danner. As a matter of fact, there was a scene you'll see with the mother, with Lainey Kazan, and we had 3 takes of it. And at the end of the 3rd take, my son comes with tears in his eyes, and he has one hand in his heart. And I'll always remember that moment when he just came, and, you know, that's all he said. There were no words. He just had a hand in his heart and tears in his eyes. Yeah.
Oh,
and,
wow.
of course, it was one of those scenes where I did conjure my mother. And so I don't watch every take that I do. I just maybe watch one take. And then I trust there's people in Video Village that are looking and they're giving me thumbs up or not. I wouldn't do this with every story, but with this particular story, I felt that I could. And we had just had, like I said, we couldn't have, and of course, I should tell you that I've worked with Rob Estes many times in the past. Him and I have known each other for several decades. Of course, it ages us, but about 8 years ago, 1996, we did a play. We did The Rose Tattoo by Tennessee Williams. And it was one of those plays. Deborah Levine directed it. At the time, Larry Moss was the artistic director, and he helped us tremendously. Deborah directed us in an incredible way. We had 21 people on stage and a goat. We had a beautiful set. The set looked like it could have lived in a Broadway house. The Rose Tattoo at the time had not been done in LA for 18 years. We, by some miracle, got the rights to it. At the time, Rob was on Melrose Place. So everybody from Melrose Place came. There were a lot of limos in front of the theater every night. And we ran for almost a year to great reviews. 21 people were in the cast and a goat, and kids and musicians. This will always remain the most beautiful theatrical experience. And so when I approached Rob, this had something from the Rose Tattoo. Him and I had a very good chemistry on stage. And this was, in a way, also an homage to the Rose Tattoo, what we did together in this movie. So, and I've worked since, like I said, since the Rose Tattoo, I worked on other movies with Rob and other theater productions. And he, like you mentioned, was in Under the Stars. And, you know, I shot a movie in November, which I'm editing right now, called Starstruck. It's a romantic comedy, and Rob was in it, and Matthew Daddario was in it, and Alice Eve, and Billy Zane, and Lauren Tom, and Doug Jones, and David DeLuise came, and Jennifer Grant. I had a fantastic cast. Wow. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people. Josh Bowman, who was in this other movie, Miranda's Victim. So we had a great time shooting this very, very fun rom-com that I'm editing. It's been great. It's been great to do the thing that you love doing. So I get to do that.
Sure. It's like you can see my notes. That's where I was going next to ask about Starstruck. But I know how films are that haven't been released yet with non-disclosure and stuff like that. You don't want to give too much away. But what an incredible cast. You always have such an incredible cast on these films. So I assume that you are working with the casting director, or how's that work? Or do you just say, get me this person, get me that person?
I have a wonderful relationship with a casting director called Nancy Bishop. She cast Miranda's Victim and Under the Stars and Starstruck. As a matter of fact, we would just spend some time in Cannes. She stayed with us. She's great. and we get along really well. And right now we're casting another movie, Helios. So we text all the time. She says I don't sleep because she's in the UK. So when she wakes up, it's really late for me. And I'm always on WhatsApp with her. And what about this actor? And what about that actor? And of course, I try very hard to not in the middle of the night, if I, go to the bathroom, not to check my phone, because then I'll either will go, oh, this person has responded, drum bells, they want to do it, and then I can't go to sleep. Or this person passed and I still can't go to sleep. Yeah. So I try to not look at my phone. But she's great. And, of course, I work with my son, who is an incredible filmmaker. And he's so excited to have been in Cannes with me just now. He saw some wonderful movies and met some people. And he just finished his first screenplay that we're going to, hopefully get done in this coming year.
Oh, wow. So you're helping him along with it, like you're directing it, or what's your involvement with this film?
Not directing it. He's going to write some other things that I'm going to direct.
I see.
But he's going to direct it. It's going to be his first movie. And I'm going to help. I'm going to be producing. I will be giving him the debt of gratitude, because he has been with me for the last few movies that I've done. And I remember he was sitting behind me in Miranda's Victim, and the script supervisor changed for one day. And so we had a new script supervisor, and Luke Wilson was wearing the wrong costume, and he caught it. And he was like, oh, no, wait, this is not right. And so he's been incredible, aside from the fact that he's a wonderful writer, and he has helped me to rewrite the shooting scripts. So I've been, very lucky. It's in the family.
I was going to say, just the way you learned and took from your dad, your son is taking from you.
Exactly. That's exactly right. We have a very similar relationship. Yep.
I loved hearing that. That's amazing. Now, you also mentioned Helios, which has that begun film? Where in the production is that?
It hasn't begun filming. We're in the stages of casting, and but we hope to shoot it in the fall in the US, in the UK. We're working really hard on it. It's a sci-fi thriller, and we get some great people attached, and so knock wood that, it's very difficult to make a movie. It's difficult for all the pieces of the puzzle to come together.
And is this, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you.
No. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah.
I was going to ask was this your first time dabbling in science fiction at all?
I think so. Yes. I've directed romantic comedies, quite a few. I've directed dramas. Also quite a few. I directed a horror short movie that has been doing the festival circuit called The Call of Nietzsche, and I'm working on a full-length feature with the writer. Wow. And then we're going to shoot in India. So we were talking about it in Cannes as well. We're talking about a lot of different projects. It's great. When you're passionate about storytelling, you want to tell as many stories as possible.
I would say so. That's incredible. I can't wait to see it. We'll have to keep in contact because I want to see what your son makes. I want to see Helios. And what was the other one? There was another one I was just seeing, Party Crasher, based on a true story.
Yes, that's a very good story. It's based on a true story. As a matter of fact, the person that this happened to did a TED Talk and did the morning shows. And now I think he's about to do a podcast. And we're going to make that movie too. We actually have a couple of really good names attached to it. So that'll come to fruition as well. It's a great story.
So we'll have to get you back in the future. Let's just not wait 5 years to do it. But with all the different... Oh, no. Thank you for being here. I love talking with you. All the different genres, though, you work on. Do you have a favorite that you gravitate toward?
It is fun to do comedy, and that's for sure. Right. But I like all. I'm very eclectic in my taste, but not only in my taste in movies, but in my tastes in food, in my tastes in art. I have a very eclectic music. I have a very eclectic taste. So I like different things. I've always had a curiosity about different genres. So I can't tell you, I like comedy better than drama, but I can tell you that sometimes it is more fun to edit comedy, yes.
I would have to imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with everything you have done and you do, you're producer, director, actor, acting coach, the list goes on. What's your favorite avenue? What do you prefer doing the most of everything you do?
I love all of it. I find joy in all of it. I really do. I told my son, my two kids, I said, listen, we're either going to be in development, we're going to be prepping something, or we're going to be executing it, or we're going to be, editing it, preparing its release, marketing it. I love all of the facets of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm very hands-on.
Right. Boy, I would love someday. Me and my friends talk about it because, we spend so much time talking to people like yourselves and actors and, whatnot, that one day we want to make our own short film or something. But, every time we sit down and go to talk about it, it just seems like such a daunting task. I wouldn't even know where to begin. And maybe you can tell me, where do we begin? What's the first thing we should work on?
It's the script.
Just get the script down first. Don't worry about
the script. Yeah, it's the script. How many times, if that was one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, how many times did we send the script out when it wasn't really ready?
Yeah.
We didn't really do due process with the script. It wasn't ready. It wasn't good enough. That's the truth.
And it makes sense. Makes sense. Why spend all this time on the other stuff if you haven't got a solid script, right?
Yeah.
So of all the things you've done, I just asked you what's your favorite thing to do, but what's something in the industry that you haven't done yet that you'd like to add to your resume? Or is there anything? Seems like you've done it all.
Well, I've certainly traveled a lot. And I want to just continue doing what I'm doing, what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about storytelling. I'm passionate about, I want to support my son. Yeah. I really, if I had to say one thing that I want to do, is he supported me tremendously for the last 5 years. In the last 6 years, I've made 5 movies in 6 years. And he supported me tremendously. And I want to be there for him. I certainly want to be there for his first movie. I was there for the shorts that he did. When he was in school, he did some shorts that won some awards and film festivals. And I want to return the favor. I want to be there for him and maybe release a little bit the headache of what it's like to produce. I think because when you're on set and you're using the two sides of your brain, if you can just be artistic, I think that can allow you to experiment, try things, that are deeper. So I want that for him. I want him to not have to worry about, where the trailers are going to be parked, or if I need to call Kodak to get more film, or, and how much is that going to be? And I'm going to go over budget with that. Yeah. I don't want him to worry about that. So I'm going to.
What an asset to have on his side for his first movie. It's more than anyone could ask for, right? What an asset.
Yeah, I want him to really feel that release, that he can just be artistic.
How awesome. I love your guys', I don't know you guys, obviously, but just from what I do know, your relationship just seems pretty beautiful.
Everybody says it is. No, we get along very well. Yeah.
Well, I love that. And I want to encourage everyone at home to check out more about Michelle at michelledanner.com, but also go to allinfilms.com where you can see a lot of these films we were talking about. Are all the films we've mentioned on that website or just some of them?
I think so. Yes, I'd have to look. I haven't looked for a while, but actually I'm going to put on my to-do list to look.
I didn't mean to give you more to do.
No, but I think they are. Yes. But the movies to watch, is Miranda, I would say Miranda's Victim. I'm very proud of that movie. I shot it on film. And like I said, Donald Sutherland was in it, and Andy Garcia and Kyle MacLachlan and Abigail Breslin played the lead, and the wonderful actress Miranda and Brent Sexton and Enrique Murciano, who happened to have been a student of mine years ago. He was one of my very first students, as a matter of fact.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and Dan Lauria, who I was a huge fan of Dan Lauria, who played the father in The Wonder Years. I remember when I was a young actress in New York City, I went to watch him perform off Broadway, and I was just blown away by his talent. And then years later, I saw him do Lombardi on Broadway. And I keep in touch with him. I love Dan Lauria. He has a scene where he plays the doctor in Miranda's Victim, and Emily Van Cam is wonderful. And Josh Bowman, who also, came and did a part in Starstruck. So I was very lucky to work with these incredible actors. So I would certainly encourage to watch Miranda's Victim and, The Italians and Under the Stars and The Runner. And some of my older movies, Bad Impulse also is a psychological thriller. I've learned something from all my movies. I don't know, probably the one that everything came together in terms of my craft, I would have to say is Miranda's Victim. Yeah.
That's the one I really want to see the most in doing my research when I found out about it. It's because it's all about how the Miranda rights came to be. Is that
yes,
accurate?
And in The Runner, I have a scene where it says you have the right to remain silent, you have the right to attorney, but I never questioned where did that come from. And that's the story that is told. That's because the person that this happened to only came forth and decided that it was time to let people tell the true story of what happened. And that's why the story had never been told of how the Miranda rights came about.
Sounds interesting as all hell. I cannot wait to watch that, which I might just do this evening. And I once again encourage everyone to go. Actually, I'm going to put the trailer. I'm going to put the trailer for it in right here.
Okay, great.
Mr. Miranda. A girl was grabbed on 7th Street on Saturday night, right around the same time that you got out of work. Can you describe the man?
Number one looks like him.
Tell me everything, and don't leave anything out.
I'm testifying. Are you sure about this?
All rise.
I don't want to see you become damaged goods.
It's not just for me.
The prosecution calls Patricia Ann Shumway.
What about the next girl?
Promise I'm going to put this guy in jail for a long time.
The jury has found you guilty as charged.
Hello, Ernest. John Flynn.
Can you get me out of here?
I believe I can.
Aren't you going to ask me if I'm guilty?
I'm far more interested why you signed that confession.
I know what you're trying to do. A man's as guilty as sin.
The issue is whether this defendant's confession should have been allowed in evidence.
It was coercion, plain and simple. There was not an attorney present.
Don't make him the face of your crusade. What about Miranda's Victim?
I really don't care.
Objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor, you must stop this! You must stop this now!
The cases before us raise questions.
What if they say he's not guilty?
The Supreme Court might make us retry.
The whole world wants nothing but to take from us.
Miranda did not request counsel, therefore, we reverse.
And being locked away is the only thing that lets me sleep at night. It's just so hard to have to keep reliving this over and over. She's worked so hard. She's doing what's right.
Mr. Miranda, our justice system has afforded you every privilege, every protection.
Hey!
This is a courtesy not extended to your victim.
Once again, I want to encourage everyone to go to allinfilms.com and michelledanner.com. Is there anywhere else I should be directing people to check out more about you or your work?
Those are two good places. All in Films, Michelle Danner, the other school, the Los Angeles Acting Conservatory. Those are all great places to go to check out the work.
Wonderful. Which I will also have links for below in the description. And I want to thank you so much, Michelle, for taking time to be here with me this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. I want to also encourage people to check out our website, cannedairpodcast.com. You can check out past episodes, go to our Patreon page, see some of the merch we have available. Find us on Instagram at canned_air and on TikTok at Canned Air Podcast. And I think that's all I have to throw at you. So once again, Michelle, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. I want to thank everyone at home so much for watching. Be excellent to each other.